Welcome, Rands. Thank you very much for being here.
Great, mate.
Appreciate your time. Oompher is all about inspiring people to achieve extraordinary things. Who and what inspired you when you were starting out in business?
Well, many people inspired me, but mainly what inspired me is wanting to do something that inspired myself. Now, you think, well, what am I talking about? I knew from my past experience, when I had following a dream, when I was doing something I was so passionate about, the world was my limit. I could do remarkable things. So the journey I went through was, what business could I get into that I'd be so inspired and so energetic that no one would be able to stop me. And so I actually spent a whole year planning exactly who I was, what was I good at, what was my family, where did I live, before the plan for Ecostore came up.
And you've got quite a key sort of business philosophy about when entrepreneurs are starting out, of them designing what they would hope their foundation could be like one day and integrating that into their business as they go. So can you tell us a bit more about that?
Well, the year I spent, I've been working for many years in not-for-profits, and I was really sick on how the not-for-profit world works. So right at the beginning, I wanted to set up a cutting-edge capitalist beast of a business which could turn on a dime but had ethics. And at arm's length, and I think that's important, have a not-for-profit, the Fairground Foundation. So the idea was, and the beauty of that, even though for many years we couldn't put any money into the Fairground Foundation, we always had the ideals of the foundation which would roll over and inform the decisions of the business. Because in the end we wanted the business, good money from the business to go to good causes.
And you've always been involved with a green-led and conservation sort of life. And what inspired that? What got you involved?
Well, funny enough, what it was I did my OE like we all do, us Kiwis, what a lot of us do. And I came back and I'd been on the road for 2.5, 3 years basically. And I just really felt the need to be grounded. And so I said to my mum, I'll dig you a garden, mum, because I was living with your mum, as you do when you come back. And just by chance I went into the library and the book I pulled off the shelf was on organic garden. It was just the books that came off, and I said, I'll try this one. And following the principles, I just thought, well, why would you do it any other way? So that was back in 1981, and I've had an organic garden ever since.
Okay, and your story is one of taking on the multinationals and saying, screw it, let's do it to the status quo, starting a business that's eco-friendly as opposed to full of chemicals that do no good for Kiwis and people in general. So what would you say are ways that Kiwis can live a healthier life? And has healthy living always been a huge part of your life?
Well, initially, I must admit, when we started, we were thinking about saving the planet. You know, as our eco-village where I started the whole business, we'd actually realised that even though our land practices were beautiful, we were having all these toxic chemicals coming out of our homes. And this is back in '86, and not many people would realise that. So when I came to form my business, I thought, well, if we'd discovered that, maybe the whole of New Zealand would be interested. It was only after a while, when we'd been in business for a little while, we started getting letters. Back in the 90s, people still wrote letters, believe it or not, and phone calls, and of course the emails come today, and they said the same thing. Since using your product, I don't sneeze anymore when I'm cleaning the house. I've had this rash for years, it's just disappeared, this little eczema's gone. And that's right at the beginning we thought, wow, there's more to this than saving the planet, it's about health. And ever since then we have been actually paranoid about what chemicals will end up on your skin.
And has the beauty of the New Zealand landscape inspired you to protect the environment and live a green life in that way as well?
I'll be controversial here. I think in some ways the beauty of New Zealand actually holds us back because we don't actually know we have the problem. The people who are at the forefront of this sort of movement are actually the Germans, because right back in even the 60s that rivers started foaming because they've got all these people there, they've got pollution coming from all their neighbours. Where in New Zealand we've got the cleanest wind and rain in the world. It washes away a lot of our problems, so often people here don't actually realise the damage they're doing.
Okay. And what's some of the key things that business owners today should be doing to be more environmentally sustainable? What would you say around that?
Well, the most power you've got as a business owner, you know that you'll do anything for your customer. Business owners just know that. They'll do anything for their customers. Well, you're actually a customer as well as a business owner because people are supplying you. And that is the time you've got a lot of power. So when people supply you a good or a service, you say, how green is that? You know, can you do better? And if everyone does that, you'll find very quickly all the green credentials will rise. And that would be my first piece of advice.
Okay. In terms of looking after the environmental bottom line in the world, if there's one thing you could change, and whether it's to do with people's thinking or something physical, what would it be?
I think it's around, do you really need it? You know, I think we're actually over-consuming, and we're kind of addicted to shopping, and you know, you got to keep thinking, do you really need that extra? Do you need 24 t-shirts? You know, maybe 23 t-shirts is enough.
So summed up, whether talking environmental or not, what does ethical business mean to you?
Ethical business today, I think, is actually going to be the business of tomorrow. The whole world is going that way. We're a bit ahead of our trend, but now the consumers are asking for it. And it's around authenticity, it's around quite radical openness of your business. You don't want to have any secrets at all. And if you're doing those two things, you actually have to be an ethical business. No secrets.
And what other entrepreneurs across the world are leading by example in this as well?
Oh, there's some of my competitors in places like Seventh Generation in America are doing some great work. There's Patagonia, who are doing amazing things like telling people to buy less of their own products. You know, there's some pretty radical things happening out there.
Yeah, and in terms of starting a company, has being an entrepreneur been a rewarding experience for you? And what would you say to someone thinking about starting a company, no matter what area that's in?
Well, the wonderful thing about being in business, and that's compared to me being not-for-profit, if you can think of an idea and in 5 minutes you can be doing it. It's, you know, you've got the decision-making power, whereas you don't have to go through a committee, you don't have to ask permissions, you can have a great idea and just go and do it. Very empowering.
And commercially, what are some of your top sort of tips you would recommend for starting out entrepreneurs in business?
You do have to plan. You have to test. You got to fail quickly is the new mantra. You know, just actually just start. Don't. In fact, the new one I'm telling my troops at the moment is we've been stuck on this thing. If you do it well, you know, if you're going to do something, if something's worth doing, do it well. Okay, everyone knows that one. Nod. Yeah. I'm saying if something's worth doing, it's worth doing badly, because the key thing is it's worth doing. And so don't wait until you've got the perfect thing before you go forward. Just try something out, test it, just throw it in the marketplace. Just when you're beginning, you've got an amazing opportunity just to get feedback as soon as you can, because what you need is you need the feedback from your consumers. And the sooner you start getting that feedback, the sooner you know you're going to be on the right track. So don't wait until you've got everything perfect before you release it.
So would you say one of the mistakes entrepreneurs are making today is basically what you've just said, making everything so perfect before going out and doing it? Do you think people just need to get out there more and just give it a go and fail and learn from that? Exactly,
yeah. And New Zealand's actually got a bad cultural thing that we're afraid to fail. Whereas in America, and you're an entrepreneur, if you haven't failed 3 or 4 times, you're actually no good. And because what you do is, that's the best lessons you get are actually from your mistakes. As long as you're not making the same mistake over and over again, that's when you're in trouble. As long as there's always new mistakes.
And where do you want to take Ecostore? What's next for you?
Oh, well, we concentrated back in New Zealand and Australia during the global financial collapse, and we pulled back, but now we're going back out into the world. We're going right through all the countries of Asia, doing whole country plans, we're reinvigorating America again, basically world domination.
So in terms of the green business, what would be your vision for the world?
Well, my personal vision is that you've got to imagine a perfect future, you know, and think, well, what would be the most amazing world I'd love to live in? Just put it very, very clearly, this is where I'd love to live, and then do it now. Don't wait, just do it.
And what would the 16-year-old boy you were think of the man you've become?
The 16-year-old me was actually very shy. Well, I'm very eccentric and very shy.
So he'd be proud of your business and what you've achieved? He'd love it. Okay, that's great. And to finish, Malcolm, what are your wise words for the people of New Zealand?
Imagine the future and do it now.
Malcolm Rands, thank you very much.
Pleasure.